Greetings, fellow bookworms. Today marks the beginning of a new chapter in our reading journey as we embark on a delightful adventure together. Thrilled to announce the kickoff of a brand new series. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Turning Pages. As the leaves outside dance their final waltz before the winter chill sets in, it's time for the grand finale of our fall reading escapades. I will be giving a summary of each book that I read this season. First, couple things that I want to address. I will be drinking some tea throughout this because I am getting over a cold right now, so if my voice cracks, that's why. Second thing I wanted to address, and I don't remember where I stuck it down, I had my reading journal. I was going to use it as a guide. I don't really use it as much as I should be using it anymore, so I'm not going to use it as a guide. I actually have notes for each book. Move that so I don't spill it. Another thing is, fall has kind of already left where I live. We're in winter. We have snow. Fall was over a couple weeks ago. Sorry, I'm resituating here. There we go. Okay. First up, we have Just Like Heaven by Julia Quinn. So it's a historical romance, which I love. You will notice a lot of my books are romance. I think most of them are, actually. It's part of the Smythe Smith Quartet. If I say any names wrong in the next however long this video is, I apologize. I probably will. I'm trying. So, the story revolves around Marcus Holroyd, the Earl of Chatteris, I think, and Honoria Smythe Smith, a charming and witty young woman. Honoria has grown up amidst the infamous Smythe Smith musical performances, which are notorious for their lack of musical talent. When Marcus and Honoria find themselves thrown together in various social situations, they discover a growing attraction despite Marcus's initial reluctance to pursue a relationship. So this novel explores the challenges and humor that arise as the two navigate the expectations of society, family, and their own feelings. Now this series, there is four books in this series. They're all within the same universe as Bridgerton. So I found this series amazing. Okay. Second one in that series is called A Night Like This. I read this one next. It's also a historical romance, also part of the Smythe Smith Quartet series. So this story follows Anne Winter. She's a governess with a mysterious past, and Daniel Smythe Smith, a charming and honorable gentleman with a duty to protect his family's reputation. As Anne and Daniel find themselves drawn to each other, they must navigate the obstacles of society's expectations and the secrets of Anne's past. The novel is filled with Quinn's trademark humor, engaging dialogue, and the exploration of the complexities of love and social conventions. That basically means Daniel is part of the higher class, Anne is not. But they end up together anyways, so it's really cute. And the third one is The Sum of All Kisses. This one is also a historical romance, also part of the Smythe Smith Quartet series. This story revolves around Sarah Plensworth, probably said that wrong, a sensible and pragmatic young woman, and Hugh Prentice, a brilliant yet somewhat socially awkward aristocrat. I was watching The Aristocrats, sorry. The two share a history marred by a scandalous incident involving a duel. The next one is The Sum of All Kisses. This is also a historical novel, also part of the Smythe Smith Quartet series. This story revolves around Sarah Plensworth, a sensible and pragmatic young woman, and Hugh Prentice, a brilliant yet somewhat socially awkward aristocrat. The two share a history marred by a scandalous incident involving a duel. Sarah and Hugh find themselves in close quarters due to a series of social events, and their initial animosity slowly transforms into a deeper connection. As they navigate societal expectations, family drama, and personal misunderstandings, the novel explores themes of forgiveness, redemption, and the unexpected twists that love can take. This one, I think, was by far my favorite of the series. Okay, book 4 of this series is The Secrets of Sir Richard Kenworthy. Again, historical romance, also by Julia Quinn, and it's also part of the Smythe Smith Quartet series. The story revolves around Sir Richard Kenworthy, a wealthy and eligible bachelor, and Iris Smythe Smith, a practical young woman with the sense of duty to her family. Sir Richard proposes to Iris in a somewhat unusual circumstance, and Iris, recognizing the practical advantages of the match, agrees to marry him. However, as the relationship progresses, secrets and unexpected challenges arise, testing the strength of their bond. The novel explores themes of love, trust, and the compromise that couples must make to build a lasting connection. This one was really good. I didn't like how secretive he was about everything, but it was still really good. I'm trying not to give spoilers, so yeah, I didn't like how secretive he was about everything, but it was still really good. I would have grabbed my winter cup, but I don't have one, so there's my autumn cup. Okay, next up was this series by Olivia Fox. It's a complete collection, so I don't have summaries for every one. I read it on my Kindle. Made it unique was it was all one volume, obviously, providing a seamless reading experience. So as soon as you finished one, you read the next one. Despite they are very short. They're very, very short books. Each book was well written. It was easy to follow, and the couples were perfect for each other in each story. Yeah, but otherwise I read it, I think, in 2 days. It is, because I think there's 12 in here. It is a longer book by like Kindle standards, but each story themselves is very short. Okay, my next read was a reread, and it's one that I tend to reread every couple months. Den of Vipers. Den of Vipers has been both loved and hated. I have seen. Personally, I really like this book, and I wasn't a really big like dark romance reader a while ago, a couple years ago anyway. But this book was really good. I really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna give the summary. It's basically on the back of the book anyways. But Ryder, Garrett, Kenzo, and Diesel, they're the Vipers. They run this town and everyone in it. Their deals are as sordid as their business, and their reputation is enough to bring a grown man to his knees, forcing him to beg for mercy. They're not people to mess with. Yet, my dad did. The old man ran up a debt with them and then sold me to cover his losses. Yes, sold me. They own me now. I'm theirs in every sense of the word. But I've never been meek and compliant. These men, they look at me with longing, their scarred, blood-stained hands holding me tight. They want everything I am, everything I have to give, and won't stop until they get just that. They can own my body, but they will never have my heart. The Vipers, I'm going to make them regret the day they took me. This girl, she bites too. This book also comes with some warnings. It is 18 plus. It is reverse harem. It is a romance. It is a dark romance. There is scenes and references of abuse or assault that some people will find triggering. So please read the trigger warnings before you read books like this. It's not worth triggering yourself. There is also very graphic sex scenes, and it's very violent. But I really like it. Sorry. I'm getting into the violent books, unfortunately. And then we're going to do a complete 180. And we're going to go back to historical romance because that's just how I am. This is also almost a full series. I read 8, I think, 9 of them. There is, I think, 12 in the series. I didn't read the last 2 of this series as I started reading another book. Anyways, the first one is An English Bride in Scotland by Lindsay Sands. So, historical romance novel set in medieval Scotland. So the summary of it is, Annabel was about to take the veil to become a nun when her mother suddenly arrives to the abbey to take her home, so that she can marry the Scottish laird who is betrothed to her runaway sister. She knows nothing about being a wife, nothing about how to run a household, and definitely nothing about the marriage bed. But from the moment Ross McKay sets eyes on Annabel, he is taken by his shy, sweet bride, and the fact that she's blessed with lush curves only makes him utter his own prayers of thanks. But when an enemy endangers her life, he'll move the Highlands themselves to save her. For though Annabel's not the bride he planned for, she's the only woman he desires. I love this series. I love this author. I love anything historical romance, so these are amazing. If you have a hard time with, I'm going to see if I can find something. Because some of the way it's written, it is written in very, I don't know how to explain it, but some of the dialect and some of the way the words are written, you have to know what it is or kind of what it is in order to get the book. I've given these books to people to read and been like, yeah, these are awesome. And they're like, well, I can't understand it. I don't know what it says. So if you don't know what it says, you're not going to enjoy it. I love these books. Okay. Second one is To Marry a Scottish Laird by Lindsay Sands. Again, it's a historical romance set in medieval Scotland. So Highlander Campbell Sinclair is no stranger to battle. So when he sees a lad attacked by bandits, he jumps into the fray. He didn't count on being stabbed. Grateful to the boy for nursing him back to health, Cam offers to accompany Joe safely to his destination. But when he accidentally comes across the lad bathing in the river, Cam discovers that Joe is actually Joan, with the most sinful of curves. Joan promised her mother that she would deliver a scroll to Clan McKay. You'll see it ties into that first book. But traveling alone is dangerous, even disguised as boy. When a Scottish warrior lends his aid, she is more than relieved until he surprises her with lingering kisses and caresses that prove her disguise hasn't fooled him. As their passion ignites, will the secrets of the scroll force a wedding and lead to a love she's never known? This one is really good, and it ties in, I think it's 20 years after this first one, roughly, because I think that's how old she is. Yeah, I think it's about 20 something like years after this first one. And yes, they go to see Clan McKay. So that's Annabel and Ross. So, next one is Highlander Takes a Bride by Lindsay Sands. Is a historical romance, again set in medieval Scotland. Sword fighting, swearing, and riding astride come naturally to Saida Buchanan. Simpering and holding her tongue? Definitely not. Raised alongside 7 boisterous brothers, Saida has little interest in saddling herself with a husband, until she glimpses the new Laird MacDonald bathing naked in the loch. Though she's far from a proper lady, the brawny Highlander makes Saida feel every inch a woman. She has an angel's looks, a warrior's temper, and seeks out his kisses with a wanton eagerness. Little wonder that Greer is intrigued by his comely guest. When reckless desire overtakes them, he's more than willing to make an honest woman of her, but Saida is the target of a hidden enemy, and Greer faces the battle of his life to safeguard the woman he wants above all others. This brings in the Buchanans. Most of this series is about the Buchanans. Saida is the only girl of 7 brothers. With 7 brothers, I should say. This one is really good. I need another drink. My throat's getting sore. Okay, next up, Falling for the Highlander, again by Lindsay Sands. This one, again, historical romance set in medieval Scotland. Lady Maureen Carmichael has known her share of bad luck, but when her debt-ridden half-brother tries to sell her off in exchange for a few Scottish horses, it's the final straw. If keeping her freedom means escaping through harsh countryside alone, so be it. She's barely begun her journey when she lands an unlikely escort, the brawny Highlander who just refused to buy her virtue. Dougal Buchanan is disgusted by Lord Danbury's shameful offer, but Maureen herself tempts him beyond measure. Even bedraggled and dusty, the lass glows with beauty and bravery. Dougal wants to do more than just help her flee. He wants to protect her with his life and his heart, if she'll only let him. For Maureen may be pursued by a powerful foe, but nothing compares to the fiery courage of a Highlander in love. So this is the first Buchanan brother in this one. This one's also really good. I'm going to say that about all of them, though, because I really liked them. Staying by her side, and Edith soon discovers that even more dangerous is her wild attraction to the fierce warrior. Niels has never met a more courageous or enticing woman than Lady Edith. The idea of such a bonny lass being forced to enter a nunnery is more than any red-blooded Scotsman could bear. He'll gladly marry her himself, but while sweeping her off her feet is easy, it'll take all his skill to defeat her family's relentless enemies and convince her to surrender to his sweet embrace. One thing you'll notice about all of these books, this series anyways, is every single woman has someone after her, trying to kill her, trying to whatever. But they're always trying to rescue and protect the woman. So I think that's hilarious. But that's that one. Next up, we have The Highlander's Promise. Again, by Lindsay Sands. Again, set in medieval Scotland. Ollie Buchanan has retreated to his clan's hunting lodge for a few days of relaxation. But the raven-haired beauty he pulls from the ocean puts an end to any chance of rest. Though he christens her Jetta, she knows nothing of her real identity save that someone is trying to kill her. As she recovers, it will not be easy for Ollie to protect her and keep her honor intact when she mistakenly believes they are man and wife. Jetta sees beyond Ollie's scars to the brave, loyal warrior she's proud to call her own. But as the attempts on her life grow more brazen, Jetta realizes that naught is all as she believes. And if Ollie is not her husband, can she trust the desire flaring in his eyes or his promise to defend her with his life? This one is really good. I had a hard time getting into it at first because it was really slow getting into it, but this one turned out to be really good. Okay, three more in this series. Next up, we have The Wrong Highlander, also by Lindsay Sands, also set in medieval Scotland. Lady Evina McLean has heard much about Rory Buchanan's skill as a healer. What she hasn't heard is how good the brawny Highlander looks bathing in a waterfall. But Evina can't afford the distraction, for her ailing father urgently needs care. Only when she's rendered Buchanan unconscious and dragged him back to her family's castle does the truth emerge. It's not Rory she's kidnapped, but his brother Conran. And then, well, I didn't get the rest of it. Other ladies try to ensnare Conran with flattery. Evina hits him over the head with the hilt of her sword to save her kin, and Conran likes the spirited redhead all the more for it. He's learned enough from his brother to heal Evina's father, but there are other dangers swirling around the McLean clan. And while the beautiful independent lady has sworn not to marry, this wrong Highlander may be just the right man for her. This one, I found it hilarious that she beats him over the head with the hilt of her sword. It's really funny, the beginning part of it. I found it funny anyway. Okay, this is my favorite of the series. Couldn't tell you why, just is. This is Hunting for a Highlander by Lindsay Sands, set in medieval Scotland. It's Lady Dwyn Innes feels utterly out of place among the eligible women who've descended on Buchanan Keep, vying for the attention of the last unmarried brothers. She isn't long-legged and slender like her sisters, or flirtatious and wily like the other lasses. Since her betrothed died, Dwyn has resigned herself to becoming an old maid. Yet a chance encounter with a stranger in the orchard awakens her to a new world of sensation and possibility. After weeks away, Geordie Buchanan returns to find his home swarming with potential brides, thanks to his loving but interfering family. But one lass in particular draws his attention from the moment he spies her climbing a tree. Lady Dwyn is not nearly as plain as she thinks. Her lush figure and eager kisses delight him, as does her honesty, but the real test lies eliminating a hidden enemy, so that he and Dwyn can seal their Highland passion with a vow. This one, by far, is my favorite. Every time I reread the series, it's always my favorite. It's so good. And the last one of this series that I read this season is Highland Treasure. Again, Lindsay Sands. Again, medieval Scotland. After escaping from the English soldiers who attacked her home and imprisoned her in a dungeon, Lady Elisade de Valence, probably said that wrong, I apologize, is grateful for the rugged Scots who are escorting her to safety to the Highlands. Even with danger dogging their every step, she hadn't expected to welcome the strong, comforting embrace of their leader, Rory Buchanan. They say he's a healer, but she finds the heat of his touch does so much more. Let his brothers get married. Rory's too busy tending to the sick to be bothered with wooing a bride. But when he's tasked with accompanying a family friend's treasure to the Highlands, he is surprised to learn the treasure is a beautiful woman on the run, and even more surprised to discover bruises hidden by her veil. Rory makes it his mission to tend to her injuries and protect her, but the thought of losing her makes him realize that perhaps it is his heart that is most in need of healing. This one is really cute. I love the way it ends, is my favorite part. But yeah, I really liked this one as well. Okay. The next 5 books that I read were not my favorite. I found them severely unrealistic. I found them kind of childish. That's my opinion. I'm very hard on books. If I don't like it, I will tell you exactly why I don't like it. But they were part of the School of Charm series by Maggie Dallin. Obviously, if you really liked them, awesome. In my scale, though, I give books that I love a 5. Books that I would read again, maybe didn't love them as much as a 5-star would be a 4-star. These ones ended up being a 2.5 because I did not really enjoy them. I marked them a 2.5 because I'm willing to give them another shot when I'm in a different headspace. I think reading these right after reading the Highland Brides series by Lindsay Sands, I was a little bit let down by what I was expecting. So these were definitely, I might try them again in another year, maybe. Who knows? But yeah, I didn't like them. You might love them. Okay, next up we have, oh, I forgot one book. That's okay. Mistress of Tall Acre by Laura France. I love her writing. The American Revolution is finally over, and Sophie Menzies is starved for good news when her nearest neighbor, General Seamus Ogilvy, finally comes home to Tall Acre. She hopes it is a sign for better days to come. But the general is now a widower with a small daughter in desperate need of a mother. Nearly destitute, Sophie agrees to marry Seamus and become the mistress of Tall Acre in what seems a safe and sensible arrangement. But when a woman from the general's past returns without warning, the ties that bind this fledgling family together will be strained to the utmost. When all is said and done, who is the rightful mistress of Tall Acre? This book is amazing. I forgot how good it is because I haven't read it for a couple years, but it is so good. Really enjoyed that one. If you like historical romance, I suggest Laura France. She's really good. The next one, I don't actually have a book. I forgot to grab it, and I don't feel like getting up right now. So, it's Duke Actually by Jenny Holiday. I will try and put a picture right here, if I can figure out how to do that. Maximilian von Hansberg, Baron of Loudon, and the heir to the Duke of Aquila, is trapped. Under pressure from his domineering father, he must marry a suitable bride before he inherits a title that feels like a prison sentence. In New York, to meet a prospective wife, he ditches his responsibilities and appears on Danny Martinez's doorstep. He's been intrigued with the no-nonsense professor since he met her at the Adovian royal wedding and is determined to befriend her. Newly single Danny is done with love and has a list entitled Things I Will Never Again Do for a Man, which is why she hits it off with the notorious rake Max. He's trying to escape relationships, and she's resolved to avoid them at all costs. All they want from each other is friendship and distraction from their messy lives. As their bond begins to deepen, so does their attraction until they end up in bed together. Falling in love was never part of the plan. Max's family doesn't see Danny as a perfect match, even as his heart tells him she's the one. And Danny isn't sure she can make it in Max's world. Can they find the courage to live the life they desire, even if it means risking everything? I thought it was super cute. I had a really hard time getting into it, but it was super cute. I will give it that. The next books that I read, were the Lovewell Lumberjack series by Daphne Elliott. Let's see here. if this works. So the first one is Would You Be Mine? If this is going to work. Maybe, maybe not. Give me 1 second. Let's see here. So this is the first book. Of course, with my Kindle, you can't really see it properly. Anyways, first time I met the grumpy lumberjack next door, I almost burnt down his cabin. The second time, I was throwing tampons at a moose. Don't ask. The third time, I was naked. And Henry Gagnon is not just my neighbor and landlord, but a pain in my opportunistic plus-sized ass. He's got a protective streak under his grumpy exterior, and he's convinced I won't make it through the Maine winter. I'm going to show him and the rest of this small town that they're wrong. I have 1 year to prove myself as the new elementary school principal, or I'm getting the axe. So I just don't have time to pine away for the grumpy lumberjack next door, no matter how good he looks chopping wood in his suspenders, or the way he growls my name when he calls me Buttercup. But soon I'm falling headfirst down a hill and into a full-blown crush when he carries me home. He's distracted trying to save his family lumber business, and I've got a school to run, and this small town is not as sleepy as it seems, and despite our differences, the heat between us makes it hard to stay away. Could we actually be right for each other? What happens if I ask him if he would be mine? These ones were so cute. Plus, I love the moose in these stories. He shows up in every one. It's hilarious. You actually need to read them so you know what I'm talking about. But they were really good. I really enjoyed it. The next one of the series is Would You Marry Me? Which is a best friend's... best friend's little sister romance is what it... So that's this one. Would you marry me? What happens when you accidentally throw a blueberry pie in your brother's best friend's face? You marry him the week later for health insurance. Dreamy lumberjack Remy Gagnon is not just my brother's best friend. He's my new husband, thanks to my pesky gallbladder. 1 year, that's our deal. I need surgery and to finish my PhD, and Remy is trying to become a professional timber sport athlete. There's no time for feelings. We're both focused on our goals. Easy as pie, right? Not exactly, because he shows up on our fake wedding day with my favorite flowers, builds me bookcases, and he calls me his wife every chance he gets. So when I enter us in a wife-carrying contest to beat his cheating ex, all bets are off. Running through the woods with my legs wrapped around his muscular body has me thinking this marriage of convenience is anything but. What happens when our year is up? What if I ask him, would you marry me for real? This one was my favorite one. It's super cute. Well, actually, I think the fourth one was my favorite one, if I'm being honest. Anyways, the third one of this series is called Would You Rather? Because this is not cooperating with me, we're going to do the same thing. Again, by Daphne Elliott. My new fake boyfriend, I can't stand him. Pascal Gagnon is a broody lumberjack with a pine tree stuck up his self-righteous ass. He needs my help investigating his father's accident, and I need the work to help my PI business get off the ground. We're total opposites. He's an uptight control freak, and I've been described as a hurricane. Forced to live together to keep up the appearances while I gather evidence, we bicker nonstop, but the fake relationship ruse is the perfect cover, even if it means having to tolerate his shirtless piano playing. This small town is hiding secrets, and as we work together to uncover them, things heat up between the sheets and in the case. The danger is as real as the feelings I'm developing for my fake boyfriend. As we close in on the truth, can we also find our happily ever after? This one was cute. Not my favorite one, but it was cute. And book 22 of the season, actually book 16 counted as 5 books because I read 5 of the stories, but we're not counting that. So book 22 was the last one of this series, Wood Riddance. Now, which one is which? I don't think it matters. And this one follows, or this summary of this one is Finn Hebert, Viking lumberjack pilot, single dad, and my sworn enemy. Not only is his father responsible for the demise of mine, but our families have been feuding for generations. Too bad I'm about to add a new member to both in 9 months. Because as it turns out, I don't hate him nearly enough. He loves my smart mouth and short fuse, and he thinks I look beautiful in oil-stained coveralls. It was supposed to be a one storm-trapped night only, but one taste of forbidden fruit is never enough. Soon we're sneaking around and keeping our relationship a secret. Our families may never coexist peacefully, but there are others in this small town who may be the real enemies. We can't keep this secret forever. This one was super cute because I thought it was amazing how they brought together the two families in the end, and it pulled together the ending from all 4 of those books together at the end, so you found out completely what happens kind of thing. It ended really well. I really loved it. And the last book that I've already read this season was Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. I was going to attempt to read the whole series. They're back here. They're down the bottom there. I had a really hard time getting into this book, so I decided that I wasn't going to try and get into the other ones right now. I'm not in the right headspace for it. But the summary of it goes, there's 2 characters that this follows, Erica and Michael. So Erica, I was told that dreams were our heart's desires. My nightmares, however, became my obsession. His name is Michael Christ. My boyfriend's older brother is like that scary movie that you peek through your hand to watch. He is handsome, strong, and completely terrifying. The Stars College's basketball team and now gone pro, he's more concerned with the dirt on his shoe than me. But I noticed him. I saw him, I heard him. The things that he did and the deeds that he hid for years. I bite my nails, unable to look away. Now I've graduated high school and moved on to college, but I haven't stopped watching Michael. He's bad, and the dirt I've seen isn't content to stay in my head anymore, because he's finally noticed me. Her name is Erica Fain, but everyone calls her Rika. My brother's girlfriend grew up hanging around my house and is always at our dinner table. She looks down when I enter a room and stills when I'm close. I can always feel the fear rolling off of her, and while I haven't had her body, I know I have her mind. That's all I really want anyway. Until my brother leaves for the military and I find Rika alone at college, in my city, unprotected. The opportunity is too good to be true, as well as the timing, because you see, 3 years ago, she put a few of my high school friends in prison, and now they're out. We've waited, we've been patient, and now every last one of her nightmares will come true. I got about halfway through this book before I actually started to enjoy it. But it was good by the time it ended. I did enjoy it. I don't want to put myself through trying to get into another book right now. So that's why I haven't read the rest of them. I will be reading the rest of them though. So this one I would suggest. It was really good. It's really dark though. So trigger warnings. Make sure you read them. Okay. And the last book, I have not read it yet. I just actually got it in the mail today. So I am super excited because I pre-ordered it. This just came out last week. The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson. I cannot wait to read this book. I'm so excited. I'm going to read it tonight. 2 wolf shifters agree to be fake mates, but unexpectedly find something real in this steamy paranormal romantic comedy. Mackenzie Carter has had some very bad dates lately. Model train experts, mansplainers, guys weirdly obsessed with her tail. She hasn't had a successful date in months. Only a year out of residency, her grandmother's obsession with Mackenzie finding the perfect mate to settle down with threatens to drive Mackenzie barking mad. Out of options, it feels like the small thing to tell her grandmother that she's met someone. That is, until she blurts out the name of the first man she sees and the last man she would ever date. Noah Taylor, the big bad wolf of Denver General. Noah Taylor, an interventional cardiologist and all-around grump, has spent his entire life hiding what he is, with outdated stigmas surrounding unmated alphas that have people wondering if they still howl at the moon. Noah has been very careful to keep his designation under wraps. It worked for years until an anonymous tip has everything come into light. Noah is left with 2 options: come clean to the board and risk his career, or find himself a mate. The chatty, overly friendly ER doctor asking him to be her fake boyfriend on the same day he's called to meet the board has to be kismet, right? Mackenzie will keep her grandmother off her back, and Noah will get a chance to prove he can continue to work without a real mate. A mutually beneficial business transaction they both rationalize. But when the fake mate act turns into a real friends with benefits arrangement, lines start to blur, and they quickly realize love is a whole different kind of animal. I can't wait to read this book. I'm so excited. I will read it either tonight or tomorrow night, depending on what time I actually end up in bed tonight. Because I'm still not feeling good, I don't want to be up all night. Anyways, As the final chapters of fall unfold, I can't help but marvel at the diverse worlds I've explored. Some of them are pretty dark and scary. The characters I've met and the emotions that have resonated with me. It's like taking a stroll through a literary forest, each book a tree with its own unique branches and leaves. I hope you enjoyed today's video. So, my fellow book enthusiasts, as the autumn leaves bid their farewell, let's raise our cups to the stories that have kept us company. Whether you've curled up under a blanket or sipping tea by the window, may your reading adventures continue to be as enchanting as the fall season itself. Until next time, happy reading. I'll see you.